chaps, EDDBUD here. Today I've got a bit of a Nike running shoe yay or nay special for you. I'm examining 4 forthcoming running shoes that are soon set to release, and I'll let you know if I'm going to be picking them up for review or not. I'll give you my reasons behind the choice and let you know if they're a shoe that might fit into my running shoe requirements, or perhaps I'll leave them on the shelf for another shoe tuber to do them more justice. The 4 shoes today include the Nike STRCTURE 25, the AlphaFly 3, the PEGASUS TURBO NEXT NATURE, but also the VAPORFLY 3, as we have this awesome black and off-white colourway. What a looker. Let's get to it. Thanks for tuning in, people, to this running shoe yay or nay. Remember, this isn't me saying the shoe's absolute gold or trash. I won't know that until I get it on foot. It's just my opinions as to why I might be picking the shoe up for review or not. If you haven't done so yet, please help the channel out and hit that subscribe button, but also give this video a thumbs up like too, that really helps out. Dankeschön. Shoe number 1 today is from Nike. In fact, all of the shoes are in this running shoe yay or nay. It's like a Nike special. We have the STRCTURE 25. This is Nike's very seldom updated structured running shoe for those after a stability option. I have found with a lot of running shoe companies and brands that their stability options these days aren't the sort of overtly clunky and overly firm shoes that we've had in the past. The stability options tend to not be all that in your face anymore. I think people have realised that actually some softer sections here and there can work just as well. Some of them like rock in the past, but I'm glad we're away from that sort of area now. The STRCTURE 25 features Cushlon 3.0 foam, which we've seen in various other forthcoming Nike releases for 2023. Slightly more rigid elements there in the arch area and around the back of the heel too. They're going to provide that structure that many people are after. I think the big issue for me here in the STRCTURE 25 is probably the weight, which is a reported 322 grams for the sample size. That is very considerable. I'm not sure why Nike are doing this right now. Every single one of their daily shoes just seems to be getting heavier and heavier year on year. Other competitors have shoes that do the same things that weigh far less, so which one are you going to choose? The outsole here looks very Pegasus-like with the lugs and there's similar lace loops there instead of eyelets. So it's a bit of an odd one. Where is the weight coming from? Is it from this Cushlon 3.0 foam? It can't be the rubber because it's very similar looking to the Pegasus and that isn't all that heavy. It's very strange and makes it a big nay for me. I've got no real requirement here for a specific stability shoe. I don't really see the point in picking up a shoe for you that has very specific elements to it that are going to appeal to very specific people, I suppose. You're not really going to get much out of a review from me with that, so what's the point in doing one? I think there's other stuff out there on the market that's lighter and perhaps a little bit more interesting to test out. I mean, Nike have got their forthcoming Vomero 17, which probably fits into my shoe rotation a little bit better. So it's not for me this time around, a nay on the STRCTURE 25. Shoe 2 is the AlphaFly 3. Now, this appears to be delayed for some reason, perhaps until after that Berlin Marathon, which of course Eliud Kipchoge is taking part in. I would be astounded if he didn't wear this shoe for that race. The finished version seems to feature more swooshes and even more orange. It's very much in line with the prototype vibes that we've seen in Nike's race shoes over the last few years. Think of shoes like the STRCTURE or perhaps the VAPORFLY Next Percent 2 and 3. In the pictures though, Kipchoge has given them his own patina of almost like a coppered colour soil. I'm sure it's better for you running on this type of compacted dirt and soil than it is on our roads. Probably a little bit more forgiving on the joints. It could explain the lack of injuries and the amazing consistency that a lot of runners from this area and region seem to have. Anyway, back to the shoes. The new AlphaFly certainly seems more bulky than the previous 2 versions, unless there's a significant difference in the upper thickness and weight. I can't really see these being any lighter than the V2. I am though intrigued as to the midsole changes here that we've got in this 3rd iteration. Nike normally do at least 2 versions of a shoe using the same midsole, 2 different iterations, but we haven't got that this time around. They've switched it up every time with the AlphaFly. I think that's probably one of the only shoes where it's changed literally for every single version. I couldn't quite get on with the arch fit in the AlphaFly 2. I had to switch in some different insoles there to make it a workable shoe after about 50 or 60 miles. The shoe just seemed to flex a little bit and I had a really bad pain. I think it was in my right foot. I haven't felt compelled to go back to that shoe after 100 miles or so. It just simply didn't feel as amazing as the V1 did straight out of the box. Maybe there's some type of like inbuilt firmware limitation to the AlphaFly 2 that Nike put in. I am of course joking, it just never really felt like I was hitting 5th gear in it. So I'm a little on the fence with this version of the shoe. I think you can probably understand why. It's a huge outlay as well. This isn't a shoe that I'll like get given by Nike or anything. I think there's some reviewers out there that do get shoes from Nike and Adidas. I'm not one of them. It's very costly, but at the end of the day, is it going to be worth it for a review? I would suggest yeah, probably is. Lots of people are very interested in this shoe. I'm going to give this one like a horse neigh for the time being. I want to know a little bit more about the actual weight of the shoe. A lot of people saying it's incredibly compressive, but I never really found that in the AlphaFly 1 or 2. Felt like quite an aggressive shoe to me, really. Let me know in the comments if you're keen for me to pick this one up. I would assume it will probably release towards the end of September, maybe sort of early October time. Now, shoe 3, I'm going to surprise you a little bit, but bear with me on this one. I do like to try and pick up shoes that viewers are interested in. One that I did review back in 2022 that I got rid of quite quickly and sold on to somebody else was the PEGASUS Turbo Next Nature. Now, I've always been a fan of the PEGASUS Turbo series, the Turbo 2 in fact, one of my favourite shoes. What a fantastic beast. A really lovely balance between cushion and lightweight feel. When I picked up the PEGASUS Turbo Next Nature, I just found my pair were really inconsistent across the two shoes. Almost felt like I was wearing two different shoes actually. That scrap ZoomX material doesn't make for the most consistent footbed. But I've received so many comments and requests for me to go back and re-examine the shoe, perhaps stating that I was wrong. I'm always open to admit that I'm wrong, I have to say. Perhaps I just got a faulty pair of the PEGASUS Turbo Next Nature. That could have happened. It could be the case. I reckon I had perhaps more glue than foam in one of the shoes, and with the discounts that are now available on the Next Nature version of the shoe, I'm tempted to dip back in and get another one and kind of do a retro review almost, you know, go back and see if I was right. I don't think we're any closer to a new version of the PEGASUS Turbo. There is some rumoured third version, but that seems to have been going on for ages. There are some better colourways now as well of the PEGASUS Turbo Next Nature. Many people commented that they really enjoy the PEGASUS Turbo Next Nature. They found it a decent daily type trainer from Nike, one that's a little bit more forgiving underfoot than the Winged Horse. Really love this red version, right up my street to be honest. Love the midsole, speckling there, and it will stand out just in time to get trashed by the autumn and winter weather. So it is a yay on the PEGASUS Turbo Next Nature again. I just want the viewers to understand that I'm always listening to them, and perhaps I missed out, perhaps I just had a bad pair. But you may have to wait a little while on this one. I've got to get it for the right price if I'm buying a shoe again. So for shoe 4, you guys know that I've taken the VAPORFLY 3 up to 100 miles. It had some really great aspects to it. It certainly improved durability over the first two versions, and a great underfoot feel as well. Though perhaps it wasn't the most resilient in terms of the foams out there. How on earth could I be tempted to buy another pair of these, perhaps going down a half or even a full size to improve the fit? Would I dare to do it? Yes, for this absolutely amazing colourway of the shoe. How could anyone not be tempted by a darker version of the VAPORFLY 3? I love the nice off-white sort of section to the midsole, almost like a cream area there in the front midsole section, and then that darker, almost charcoal-like fly knit material. Kind of looks a little bit like an Oreo biscuit, doesn't it? I reckon this is set to come out around the release of the AlphaFly 3, which appears to be coming in a similar colourway with a predominantly black upper and mainly white outsole. So yeah, it says yay on this one. I absolutely want a pair of these. They are beautiful. Reminds me a little bit, I guess, of the Ekiden version that we got back in 2021, was it? Of the VAPORFLY Next Percent. So no idea when this may release, hopefully a little later in the year, but it's a beautiful shoe. Got everything I want there for a race shoe, and it's going to look a darn sight better than some of the much lighter colourways. So a bit of a Nike special there today. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on these 4 down in the comments. Very quick musical interlude for you. Something a little different today, just to show my wide range of musical tastes. Really love my vinyl copy of Miles Davis' Sketches of Spain. Some of the tracks on this one almost sound like a soundtrack, I suppose, to a spaghetti western or something. You can feel that very arid, open sort of landscape there, and there's some beautiful playing on some of the tracks here. There's a real air of mystery and intrigue to some of the songs. Could make for a really great long-run soundtrack for you. Perhaps if you're running in some very hot temperatures, it will help you to slow down a little bit and just enjoy the process. Sketches of Spain by Miles Davis. Thanks for tuning in, people. It's always appreciated. Make sure if you haven't done so already that you hit that subscribe button and also the bell for notifications too. Give this video a thumbs up like too. My name's EDDBUD and I'll be seeing you